And so as you were coming up, you discovered salsa in Toronto, and I'll let you tell the story, but I'll just mention the things that I've discovered that I know about. How would you say the salsa world received you as an Indian girl getting into the Latin industry?
In Toronto, I felt received pretty well, mainly because the Toronto scene wasn't heavily Latin. There were a lot of Filipinos, Asians, white people, some Latinos, Indian people. There were just people from all walks of life, and so I at least did not experience that feeling of, what is this Indian girl doing in this salsa community? As I started to travel more and teach more and be more world recognized, then I started to feel that a little bit more. There was always a shock, often accompanied by a welcome, of like, oh wow, you dance and you're from India, that's crazy, but that's awesome. And then there are the people who won't actually communicate that with me, but you can kind of feel that, or you can hear it in, whatever someone said to somebody else type of thing, where they're like, oh, like, she doesn't know the dance, she didn't even learn it. What is she doing in the scene? And almost this feeling of judging and resentment, maybe, that why is she able to be successful in an industry that really doesn't belong to her? Yeah.
And so
it's not that common. I want to point out it's not that common, but I would be remiss to say that it doesn't exist.
Sure. And I think it's interesting for, even from, a civilian hobbyist perspective, sometimes, like in Sydney, the majority of people dancing are non Latin, and sometimes people feel that judgment before it's even happened. They sort of question whether they belong or can do this activity because it's not in their blood. So I think it's interesting to, connect to that experience and see how you dealt with it, particularly more at a professional level.
Well, one of the ways I've dealt with it and continue to deal with it is my approach to kind of any social setting is there are a couple of ways you can enter. You can feel a vibe and be influenced by it, or you can decide that you're going to try and influence the vibe in that environment. And maybe it's a result of how I've grown up, and not really depending a lot on people's acceptance of me, that I tend not to wait for people to accept me. I just kind of go in with whatever it is that I want to do. Now, that also has worked for me because I don't want to go in to any environment to offend anybody, to disrupt it in any way that would be counterproductive or, bring people down. So considering that I enter the environment with a positive attitude, a desire to have fun, a desire to be creative and share that with whoever I'm interacting with, it's easier for me to influence my environment and my surroundings.
And